if it seems like every time you watch a video on YouTube or listen to somebody on a podcast or you read something on Twitter and Reddit, and it seems like they're always dogging Google Stadia, that they always have something negative to say about the gaming service, chances are it's for a good reason. So you're probably asking me, so Keith, what's going on this time? Well, somebody who subscribed to Google Stadia, who actually has the Stadia Founders Edition, I haven't been really happy with my experience with the offering, and neither have a bunch of other people. Case in point, people have been complaining that Google has not lived up to their promise of the 4K 60 frames per second experience. In fact, there have been many people who tried to disprove Google, with Digital Foundry being one of them. And they went and they did some investigation, as they always do. They're great at that technical stuff. And they found out that Stadia is not delivering on that 4K 60 frames per second experience. And they're not the only ones. There have been a bunch of other people who did their due diligence. So Google came out and pretty much threw the developers under the bus, which is really weird. They pretty much stated that, yeah, Google Stadia streams at 4K 60 frames per second, and it includes all aspects of our graphics pipeline from the game to the screen. But they're making it seem like that because the game isn't supporting the 4K 60 frames per second, it's because of the developers, which is really weird to me, because two games which are probably the biggest selling points of Google Stadia, which being Destiny 2 and Red Dead Redemption 2, both of those games have 4K assets. Both of those games stream or play at 60 frames per second 4K if you have the hardware. Destiny 2, which I'm a big fan of, I've been playing the game in 4K 60 frames per second since the game launched, and I've had no issues. I've had some issues, but not a lot of issues. And then you've got Red Dead Redemption 2, a game that is native 4K on the Xbox One X, and a game that is upscaled to 4K on the PlayStation 4 Pro. But here's the problem. Google Stadia, apparently from Digital Foundry, is being upscaled from either 1080p or 1440p. So it never renders at a native 4K, which is something Google has stated that Stadia has the ability to do. And they're also saying that when it upscales to that, it's not even hitting the same levels as the PlayStation 4 Pro, which is kind of scary, because one of the biggest selling points of Stadia, and we all saw that graphic, is where they're on the screen and they're showing the teraflops of the Xbox One, they're showing the teraflops of the PlayStation 4 Pro, or Xbox One, excuse me, and then they have Stadia, and they're like, Stadia has 7 teraflops of power that these consoles can't do, but yet these consoles are running a game at a better internal resolution than Stadia is. So what does Google do when they find out that people are getting upset about this? It's the developers' fault. It's all the developers' fault. The developers aren't doing their job. The developers aren't encoding a game. The developers aren't providing the 4K assets, which is a complete and total lie, because, again, if we're getting these very same games on the Xbox One X and PlayStation 4 Pro and on the PC, why are we not getting this from Stadia? Now, a lot of people who've said the same thing have been getting a lot of, let's just say, hate mail. Okay, we're saying there are people that saying that they're haters, they don't want to give Stadia a chance, that they want the technology to fail. And I've had a couple of people come to me and say that, and I will be honest with you and say, I don't want Stadia to fail. And I've been saying this for a while now. I think the technology is great. I think that Google has a good idea. I think that if Stadia had a bit more polish, had a little more time to bake, which it actually does, because only people who have access to Stadia right now are reviewers, influencers that Google sent kits out to, and the people like myself who pre-ordered the service on the Founders Edition or the Premier Edition. That's it. For everybody else who doesn't have access to Stadia Pro, which only comes with those two, they have to wait till sometime in 2020 when Google officially releases Stadia, and we don't have a release date on that. It could be early 2020, it could be middle 2020, it could be late 2020, especially if they're trying to put out all these fires that they're seeing right now with Stadia. So we are glorified beta testers, and we've been saying that for quite some time as well. So getting back to that, if Google's promise points were that Stadia is better than console gaming and PC gaming, and that they're going to offer you an experience up to 4K 60 frames per second with Pro, because Stadia regular only supports 1080p 60 frames per second. But if Stadia Pro cannot give me what you're offering me, then why do I want this? I mean, there are people out there right now that are extremely frustrated. They flocked to Stadia because Google gave them that promise. They fell into that hype, and they aren't being delivered. There is no game right now on Stadia that, and I'm going to be honest, 100% brutally honest here, there is no game right now on Stadia that appeals to me. There is no game on Stadia that I don't already have on my PlayStation 4, on my Xbox One, or on my PC. Okay. That said, there's not a game on Stadia that will make me jump on it. I only have it because I wanted to test it. I wanted to be able to review the service. I wanted to be able to say, hey, Stadia does this great, doesn't do this. I didn't want to be someone who says, oh, it sucks, or jump on a bandwagon without having access to the actual service, hardware, whatever you want to call it. So that said, for those people who jumped on Stadia with the promise of 4K 60 frames per second, they're upset, and they have every right to be. And for Google to come out and say, you know, it's not our fault, it's the fault of the developers, this, that, and the third, that's a bad look. And not only are you alienating your audience, the audience that they aren't sure who they're catering to, but you're also stepping on the toes of the developers that are like, wait, you're throwing us under the bus because your technology can't deliver what you promised. I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see developers push back against Stadia, or maybe just tell Google, you know what, we're not going to work with you whatsoever. It wouldn't be the first time that people have done this. It likely won't be the last time. And at the same time, Stadia has a very steep uphill battle to regain the trust of the fans who already have it and who likely returned it or have shelved it, saying, yo, they'll revisit it in a couple of months when hopefully things got better or will get better. And then you also have Microsoft with Project xCloud, which people are saying is great. There is some issue with latency, and I've been playing with it, and I think it's good on certain games. I think it's a much better experience than what Stadia is offering me right now. But that's just me. Somebody could say, I don't like how xCloud is, but I love how Stadia is going. Though I can't imagine there is a handful of people that are very happy with how Stadia is performing. Right now, it is a dumpster fire. It is a dumpster fire. I will not apologize for saying that. I had it, and I'm very sorry that I do have it. I'm not sure if I'm going to return my Stadia or if I'm going to put it away for a while, because I don't want to give up on it. I think, like I said, I think it has great bones. I think it does have potential. But Google oversold it. They pushed it out early, and the people that are on the Founder Edition or on the Premier Edition are glorified beta testers. And I don't like that. And I don't like the fact that Google, ever since the launch of Stadia, hasn't been really saying anything. And up until the launch of Stadia, we've been asking them, hey, how does this work in real world conditions? How does this work on mobile connections? How does this work on less than stellar broadband connections? We've already seen the stories of Stadia requiring gigs and gigs of bandwidth, something that most people in this country, United States of America, don't have. There has been reports where Google can take down, or Stadia can take down 40 gigs of bandwidth. 40 gigs of bandwidth, think about that. That's almost half of some people's data caps. That is a ridiculous amount of bandwidth. And that's not going to fly if that continues. And that's not even at 4K 60 frames per second. How? How is that? I mean, again, Google Stadia has a very, very steep hill. And I don't know how Google is going to get around this. I don't know how they're going to regain the trust of people who are already on Stadia or the developers who they've thrown under the bus. I don't see how they're going to do this. But yeah, we'll keep looking at it. The Outerhaven will definitely keep looking at Stadia and Project xCloud and all the other streaming technologies out there, because we're gamers. We love gaming. We love technology, and we want to be on top of this. We want to be vested in this, and I'm hoping Google turns this around. I really hope they do, because again, I don't want this to fail. I think it's great, but in the inception of it right now, for me to implement it, and as I've done it in my house on my Wi-Fi, on my wired Ethernet connection, and I have a gig to my house, and it's still not where I want it to be. I've got audio sync issues. I've got latency issues. I've got sometimes the game would just freeze on me momentarily. I've even had my Chromecast Ultra freeze because of apparently they're overheating now. There's a lot of stuff going on, and I'm gonna cut the video short. I went longer than I want to, but I really think, and I've been saying this for a while, I really think that going with the Chromecast Ultra was a bad move. Google needs to come out with a dedicated appliance similar to the Chromecast, but only for gaming. Because if you guys have not seen our latest article on Stadia, you can't use it to capture video game footage using the Chromecast Ultra because of the HDCP. Which means for you streamers and content creators out there who want to capture gameplay off of the Chromecast with a better visual fidelity, we can't do it. We can't do it because the ability is not there. Google needs to either put away the Switch HDCP on when you're playing Stadia and when the Switch off when you're just watching content on the Chromecast, or they need to give us a device that does nothing but stream Stadia. Nothing but stream Stadia. No media, nothing. Because if they don't, they're alienating themselves from a huge market. Streamers are huge. Content creators are huge. And if we can't capture the best fidelity using the Google Stadia, what good is it? Most people are going to say this is garbage. I'll just stick to my PlayStation 4, my Xbox Ones, or my PCs. That said, folks, that is it for this video. If you like what you heard or like what you saw, be sure to hit the follow button. If you hear this before Thanksgiving, have a great Turkey Day. Be safe out there on Black Friday. There will be a lot of crazy people out there. Your life is more important than that TV or that piece of whatever you must have. People get really violent around Black Friday. Just drop it. Back away. You're going to get one life. Be careful out there, okay? That said, thank you for watching. Thanks for tuning in. And go play some games. Enjoy yourself. And thanks for watching. Take care.